obviously City of Death. You know me. Case closed. Okay, yeah, that's not enough to warrant this Crown Jewels video. So, welcome back to Crown Jewels. We're in a bit of a predicament this time round, considering we've hit season 17, which contains my all-time favourite Doctor Who story of all time, City of Death, which I've already talked ad nauseum about in my review, and my views haven't changed. Everything I analysed about it, I still love. I'm gonna elect not to talk about it, but officially it's a crown jewel. There's not gonna be any honourable mentions, because although I do feel like season 17 is underrated, I don't think anything's strong enough to even warrant being called an honourable mention. So Douglas Adams is my favourite Doctor Who writer of all time, so naturally this may be considered a cheat by some of you. I do not care. I am picking Sharda. So, Sharda, beautifully comical story, yet feels very epic in proportion. It definitely feels like a finale to a season because of its scale. Ignoring the fact that there's this mythic energy around it that has been circulating ever since people found out that it was a thing that just didn't happen. Watching it, there is still this air of grandeur about it, even though it's just a little funny, silly, goofy story. Douglas Adams knows how to make something feel grounded and serious, which is a bit weird to say, but what I mean by that is you take the story seriously. You buy the gravity of the situation of what Skagra's trying to do with his sphere, and how he basically kills Chronotis, nearly kills the Doctor, and he's also shown off as very intelligent, which is also a scary quality for a villain to have. All this without even knowing what his plan is, which I do feel like is very impressive, quite honestly. We do find out what his plan is in the second half, and his plan is a bit of a funky little twist. The stereotypical conquer the universe motive is very much seen and almost in a meta way critiqued, because what he chooses to do, although similar, is distinctly different in a way that makes sense and is, I guess, motivating. And the way he lays out why he wants to do it also sort of makes sense given what we know about him as a person. All this sounds pretty deep for a silly little Douglas Adams story, but it's there. It's all there. And not only that, but the wittiness of the Doctor and Romana, whilst also understanding the gravity of the situation, is a perfect combination. And I feel like this is the perfect TARDIS team for a Douglas Adams script. Because they're both alien, they get to exhibit a slightly inhuman quality where they grasp of the situation stronger, but are also detached enough to have witticisms, which just with Doctor and Romana's characters is brilliant. And I know I said this about Leela, but Romana is also one of my favourite companions. Chronotis as a character is fun. He's a bumbling old fool, but then the twist about him, it both makes complete sense and kind of comes out of nowhere. It's like, it's one of those twists that is the perfect kind of twist, yet without being too much of a massive revelation. It's just, it alters the plot in a way and recontextualizes the plot in a way that is so wonderful. We also have Chris and Claire, two perfect human characters who serve the plot well and do what they need to do in the rest of it. I do get the feeling Douglas Adams wished there was a contemporary human companion as well, because you've got the likes of Duggan and Chris in this season, which fill the sort of human role of being a bit oblivious to the situation and give the Doctor and Romana someone to explain things to, which I do feel like is a bit of an essential role of a companion, because although Romana is not as experienced as the Doctor, arguably she is more intelligent but less experienced, so the Doctor has more knowledge overall. It's just the things Romana has knowledge on, she has an intense knowledge on. It does give each of them a chance to explain things to each other, which is a great dynamic, but in terms of trying to reduce that down to an audience level, I can understand why. Chris isn't comically stupid. He's smart. He's intelligent. He has a degree. But at the same time, he's definitely a fish out of water, and very drastically so. As was Duggan. And I feel like I can speak about Duggan because, Crown Jewel. Duggan very much was not smart and very much comic relief in that setting. Either of them would have been great companions, in my opinion. And K9 is essentially a very functional tool that gets good moments in this one. I don't think there's any more to talk about with Shada, other than the sort of animation itself, which I think is fine. I don't really think there's much for me to talk about that hasn't already been said before on the channel. And the music's great, Mark Ayers did a good job. But, with all that said, what are your thoughts on Season 17? I get the feeling my 2 picks here are everyone's 2 picks, but if for some reason you prefer the Creature from the Pit, I can understand why you'd prefer the Horns of Nimon for the meme, but if you genuinely are serious about that, let me know. Or even Nightmare of Eden. Or even Destiny of the Dark. Whatever. Whatever your thoughts are, leave them down below. And I'll see you next time for next week's Crown Jewels, where Entropy is catching up with the Doctor. And I'll see you then. Cheerio.